Hey guys, Cavalin Day here. Going to just do a quick, super quick video to share with you the resource that I am providing for you this week. So just wrapped up my virtual vision book workshop as our end of holiday break week, and got a lot of feedback during the workshop about people really struggling with setting some good, healthy boundaries around their evening time. And I've heard this a little bit from other teachers and educators and counselors and social workers that I've worked with. I've heard this a little bit before, where they say there's kind of an unwritten expectation that you're answering emails after hours, or this unwritten expectation or this pressure to stay after school. And so before you know it, your school day kind of extends into your evening, and then your evenings are more rushed and more stressful. So I'm going to help you to do that by doing kind of this 3-step process for your perfect evening, right? And so I created a worksheet for you so you can kind of write it out, because sometimes the act of writing is kind of therapeutic for us. So we're going to talk about the 3 steps that I think are really important for setting really good boundaries around your evening. Now, I practice what I preach because most of the time I'm working from home now. So I absolutely have a lot of times where it would be easy for me to just kind of slide from my workday right into my evening and not have time with the kids and things like that. So I totally understand it, but it's also very, very important that we do this, because when we have those good boundaries, it really is healthy for us. And we have better self-care, and we are more present for the people that we love. We're more present for the work that we do. And then we don't spend all this extra time feeling guilty and frustrated as well. So the first thing we want to do is get clear about what we actually want for our evening. So a lot of times we've been so overwhelmed by the things that we need to do during our day and the expectations that we don't even really know what we want to do. We just know that we want it to be different. So I want you to get really clear about what you want your evenings to look like. So I want you to ask yourself some questions. So ask yourself, what time would I get home if this was the perfect evening? What time would I be having dinner? What time would I be, going to bed? Would I watch TV? Would I have time to read? Like, what things would be included in the perfect evening? What people would be included in the perfect evening? If I could make, that magic wand question, if I could wave a magic wand and my evening was perfect, what would it look like? I want you to let your mind kind of go as far as it will go. Come up with the feelings that you would experience, the activities that you would be doing, the people that you would have time for, so that you really have a clear picture of what you would want that evening to look like. So I want you to get really clear about what you would want. The second step is to then get clear about what you're doing now. So chances are you have an idea of some of the things that you're doing with your evening time. A lot of times I notice people aren't even really sure what they're doing. They know that you're just full and busy, and it's just kind of hectic and chaotic. So in this space, it might be helpful to do something like, maybe contract time ends at 3 p.m. So you do a 3, maybe you do a 4, maybe you do a 5, kind of write the hours down there, and then actually kind of type what you're doing there. So is this your drive time? So maybe you're driving for 20 or 30 minutes. Maybe you are doing pickup and drop off. So get clear about what you're doing with your time now. This is going to be important because I'm going to take you to the hard part, which is the setting of the boundaries. So get really clear about what you're doing with your time. If you do things like every 15 minutes, every 30 minutes, however you need to do that, go ahead and add that stuff in there. If it's different from day to day, I would tell you to pick the day that's the most average. If you want to maybe do it day by day, that's fine as well. I would just kind of flip the sheet over and write it out, Mondays or this, Tuesdays or that. If you have a calendar or you have your phone where you keep appointments, I would keep that handy, because 9 times out of 10, there's going to be something you're doing that you forget about. You want to have a really clear indication of what you're doing right now. Okay, so that's step 2, is get clear on what you are doing with your time right now. And then the last step is to talk about what needs to change. And there's 3 things that I want you to think about in terms of what you're doing now, in terms of what you need to change. So the first step is, what can you eliminate? So remember that a boundary has 2 purposes, right? A boundary can define a space, it can define a time, it can define a period, but a boundary can also protect something. So if you think about a fence, the fence defines where my yard ends and where my neighbor's yard begins. but it also protects my children while they're out there playing in the front yard, right? So the boundary is there for definition and for protection. So anything that does not reach the definition of your perfect evening, right? That thing is now being called into question. So allow yourself to be able to call that into question. So as you go through this list, I guarantee you there's something that you can eliminate. Now, most of it you may not be able to eliminate right now, but there's probably something on here that you can eliminate. Something that you can eliminate is something that you don't want to do anymore, that's not required for you to do. It's not a part of your job, and it's something that doesn't rise up to the level of your perfect evening. So if there's something that you can eliminate, I want you to go ahead and eliminate that now. That means put a line through it, write it on here. I'm no longer doing this. Maybe it's something like um, making 3 dinners for your kids, right? So maybe if all 3 of your kids want something different to eat and you make 3 dinners for each one of the kids to have something different, that's something that you can eliminate, right? You can just completely say, I am no longer doing this. I am no longer tolerating this. This ends today, right? This is eliminated. The next step is the things that you can delegate, right? So this is what can I pass off to someone else? Now, maybe you have taken on some voluntary duties at work that you no longer want to have as a part of your life. Maybe you've done some volunteer things at church or for the community, and you think, you know what, at this point in my life, I just need to kind of step back and set these boundaries to get really clear on what matters the most. Who can you delegate that to? You might just do some delegating to your spouse, right? You might need to do some delegating to your children. You might, I've had people where they have an intern, or have a student teacher and they're not letting them do anything. Delegate some of those things that you need to get off of your plate or that you want to get off of your plate, because they don't rise up to the level of your perfect evening. And then last but not least is, what do you need to accommodate? Now remember, accommodation means that we're making an adjustment or a change. So there's some things that you can't eliminate because it's part of your job or because you've signed up for it or because you're committed to it for another higher purpose, right? Maybe you're working a part-time job right now because you need to pay off some debt or because you want to help, get some money set aside for the kids' college fund. That's something you need to accommodate. Sometimes we can't eliminate something, but we can accommodate it with our mindset, right? So we can change the way that we look at it and we can change the way we think about it, right? So maybe I can't change the fact that this is happening or that this has to happen right now, but I can change the way I'm looking at it. So instead of me being frustrated and angry about the fact that I have to work this part-time job to pay off this debt, I'm going to accommodate this in my mindset by saying, you know what? The perfect evening for me includes not being worried about debt. So I'm going to work this part-time job joyfully until I can get this debt paid down, right? That's a great way to accommodate. Sometime an accommodation is, right now my kids are so young, they can't help me around the house. So I'm just going to accommodate this for a period of time. Again, I'm going to look at this as, hey, I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to do these things with my kids right now. And in a couple of years, this won't be the case, right? So sometimes it's accommodating mindset. Sometimes it's accommodating in terms of lifestyle, okay? So you're going to make sure, in order to achieve some healthy boundaries around your evenings, you want to be clear about what you actually want to have happen, clear about what you're doing right now, and then do what you can to change what you have going on in your evenings by eliminating, delegating, and accommodating in any way necessary. Okay, so you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you soon.